Yo, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another MLB video where today we're going to talk about if the Blue Jays should be worried about Cavan Biggio at third base or not. Just before we get into this one, thank you guys for all the recent support and be sure to like and subscribe to see more future content like this and other baseball content. So going into this video, we're going to talk about some future options for the Blue Jays at third base and some pros and cons about Biggio at third base. So some future options for the Blue Jays is Jordan Groshans, who's come up as a shortstop. He can play some third base. He has a pretty strong arm and he's pretty good defensively. At least he's better than Biggio defensively, and he's probably going to get better as he develops more. Another option is Austin Martin, who can play third, short, and the outfield, so the Blue Jays can really put him anywhere. And then a couple other options that aren't really talked about in Blue Jays land too much because there's so many other prospects that have a lot more hype is Orelvis Martinez and Miguel Geraldo, who are both third basemen who can also play short and first. Martinez and Geraldo, both of them are more hitters than defenders. They're more like Vladdy, where they hit, but they're not the best defenders. So it's going to be interesting to see where they fit in, especially with Bo and everyone else on the infield, because Geraldo or Martinez will have to play DH. Maybe they'll be part of a trade, or maybe one of them will get better defensively and play third. But those are the top infielders who could take Biggio's spot on the infield if everything goes well and they develop going up. And then someone else from trade, Kyle Seager, Jose Ramirez, Chris Bryant. You guys already know all the trade rumors. So those are definitely some future options for the Blue Jays at third base. Biggio can move back to second when Semien is done his contract here, because I don't think the Blue Jays are going to re-sign Semien. I think that was just to get as much offense out of him. He can build his market back up for next offseason and sign with someone else. So I definitely think Biggio could move back to second next year, or they'll use Groshans or Martin at second base, and then that will open up a third base spot for someone in free agency or someone developing like Groshans, who's expected to come up next year. They also have some other prospects, but not as highly thought of prospects who can play third base. Some pros and cons about Biggio at third base is that he can get into the lineup. The Blue Jays don't really have anywhere to put him. With Springer's injury, he has more options to go out into the outfield because Biggio can go out in the outfield. I think he looks more comfortable out there, or at least at second base. But when he can't play second base, I think the outfield is the best spot for him. And he is decent at defense. I mean, he's not horrible, but going into the cons, we'll talk about why his defense struggles a lot. Yeah. So I don't think he has a strong enough arm for third base. We've all seen his arm, or most Blue Jays fans have seen his arm off throws, like he throws them wide or high, and his arm, he normally bounces the ball when he has to make long throws. Obviously, he's not with the best of the third basemen like Chapman or Arenado, but some simple plays that could be made aren't made by Biggio. Streaky misplays, what I mean by that is that when Biggio makes a misplay, it's always in a streak, if you guys know what I'm saying. Like, he'll constantly make misplays for a couple games and then have a couple games where he's good. So he's a very streaky defender, where a couple games he'll be bad defensively and make a lot of errors, and the next couple games he'll be solid defensively. And also, he does not get comfortable at one spot. Last year he was at second, now he's at third. He plays in the outfield. He played some first base this year. So he hasn't really gotten the time to settle down at one spot like Vladdy or Bo. And Vladdy's doing pretty well defensively. Bo has been shaky at the beginning, but he's starting to settle down. We might make a video about his defense as well. And the confidence could be a downgrade if he's continually making errors at third base. We saw this when the Blue Jays played in Kansas City. Biggio made a lot of errors, and they took him out of the game because it was just a really rough game for him. So that could definitely hurt a player's confidence. And I just think it could be bad for his play in the future if he keeps getting taken out of games. So like we said, he could just keep getting a confidence downgrade. He might not get comfortable if he has to move back to second base next year. He could become very streaky. I hope it works out for him, but he is a very streaky player, either offensively or defensively. Hopefully he can build up his arm, but I just don't think he has the arm to be a major league third baseman, and most Blue Jays fans who watch him can probably agree with that. But the pros, he can get into the lineup because the Blue Jays want to fit as many bats into the lineup as possible, because when Biggio is at his best, he's a really good player. And then his decent defense, again, when he's at the good part of his streaks and he's playing well defensively, that's a pro. And then the future options, like we already said, Groshans, Martin, Martinez, or Geraldo. All those players, especially Martinez and Geraldo, are both like 20 or 21, and they're expected to be in the MLB this year or next year. So they're developing really fast. So there's definitely going to be some competition at the third base spot. And definitely, I think the Blue Jays are going to trade for a third baseman and put Biggio either in the outfield or platoon him in the infield. So let me know if you think you were comfortable with Biggio at third base. Let me know what you think about this whole situation altogether. Do you think the Blue Jays are going to improve internally or external by trade or free agency? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. I'll see you guys in the next one.